What's going on, y'all? TheBrandonBrownson here with another episode of Theory Addict. I was rattling my brain meats trying to figure out what to do the next episode on, and about that time I started seeing Batman stuff all over the interwebs. Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, the new animated Batman movie based on The Killing Joke. Batman was all over my Facebook feed, and it kind of puzzled me that I haven't done anything on not only Batman, but comic books in general. So if you haven't figured it out by now, seriously, it's right there in the fucking title, we're doing Batman, and we're not doing it alone. I love having guest readers on here, and my guest reader for this episode is my good buddy Crew from the Rad Nerd channel. Crew's a good guy who makes some of the most entertaining Let's Play videos I've seen in a while, so go ahead and give him some love. He's also doing a part 2 to this episode of Theory Addict, so definitely check him out, link to that video in the description. Before I start though, as always, I have a few things to say. First off, unless otherwise stated, I did not create any of these theories. I found all of these on the internet, and I'll try to have links in the description. Second, unless otherwise noted, I do not believe any of these theories, and neither should you. The show isn't about education per se, but rather entertainment. Fan theories are really fun to think about, and they sometimes make you appreciate the source material just a little bit more. Third, spoiler alerts. This should go without saying, but there probably are going to be spoilers about Batman comics, game, movies, all that stuff. So if you don't want them, you should probably stop watching. Last, I love healthy debates in the comment section, but please, don't be a dick about it. I hate Flame Wars just as much as the Batman hates Joker, and my batarangs come in the form of the block button. With all that said, let's jump right into it. It's well established in the comic books that the Penguin's real name is Oswald Cobblepot, but that's about all Oswald shares in common with his comic book companion. Seriously, the Oswald Cobblepot we see in Gotham is super different than the one in the comics. How do you ask? Well, first of all, we have the physical differences. The Penguin has always been short and fat, but Oswald Cobblepot is tall and lanky in the show. Sure, he could gain weight, but he can't really lose inches. There's also his nose. The Penguin's always had a long, beak-looking nose, while Oswald Cobblepot's nose in the show definitely doesn't match that description. At this point, you might be thinking, wait a minute, dude, people in the show keep saying that he walks like a penguin or looks like a penguin, so Cobblepot obviously becomes the Penguin. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a red herring. The Penguin is a lot of things in the comic books, but one thing he usually isn't portrayed as is a cold-blooded, murdering psycho. Oswald Cobblepot, on the other hand, kind of is. Cobblepot literally kills someone because he wants the poor guy's sandwich. Does that sound like something the Penguin would do? Now, Oswald Cobblepot does have the whole umbrella thing going on, but where's his interest in birds? Where's his upper-class upbringing? What we have here isn't the Penguin. What we have here is a tall, slim, psychopathic murderer who sometimes poisons people. Doesn't that sound a lot like the Joker to you? So, why the hell is the Joker going by the Penguin's name? Oswald Cobblepot is supposed to be dead. He knows that with such an unusual name, it's bound to get back to Fish Mooney, the person who ordered him dead, that someone named Oswald Cobblepot is still in Gotham. So, he hires a short, fat kid to go around telling people that his name is Oswald Cobblepot. The kid idolizes the man, so he does everything he can to be more like him. He walks like him, talks like him, dresses like him, he even carries an umbrella just like him. Meanwhile, the real Oswald Cobblepot realizes that he has to hide his identity if he's going to continue to operate as a gangster in Gotham, and he develops the Red Hood identity. The short, fat kid with the big, long nose becomes the Penguin, while the original Cobblepot has an industrial accident and becomes the Joker.
It's somewhat common knowledge that Batman knows how to beat everyone in the Justice League. But how do you beat the Bat? The one thing that Batman fears more than anything else is turning into one of the villains he so despises, and he's fully aware that he is capable of doing so, and that there aren't many people who could stop him if he did. So what would happen if Batman did become evil? What is his contingency plan if he goes off the rails? Well, what if there was a person who knew his fighting style and arsenal inside and out, front to back? What if there was a person with skills equal to his and similar life experiences, but was younger and more optimistic than Batman? Sound familiar? This theory's a little on the shorter side, but it says that in the event that Batman were to turn evil, his weapon is Robin, or Nightwing, or Batgirl, or one of his other sidekicks. Batman made sure that his various protégés know everything there is to know about Bruce Wayne and Batman alike, so they can beat him. Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, and all the other people Batman has taken under his wing are planned countermeasures in case Batman decides he's had enough of everyone's shit and starts snapping necks.
So, to explain this theory, let's quickly recap the end of The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises ends with Batman flying the Bat and a nuclear bomb away from Gotham City to explode a few miles out to sea. The implication being that Batman died to save the city. We see a funeral for Wayne and is made up of only the very few who were close to him. Commissioner Gordon reads a eulogy describing how Bruce is now experiencing a peace and death greater than he ever knew in life. Alfred says goodbye by tearfully apologizing for failing to protect Bruce. The next scenes are showing Bruce leaving his home to the youth of the city and, assumedly, leaving the Batman legacy to Officer Blake. The film ends with what seems to be a plot twist ending. Foxx finds out that Bruce fixed the autopilot and that Alfred goes to his favorite restaurant in another country and sees Bruce and Selina Kyle happy and healthy. They look at each other but don't acknowledge each other, just like Alfred's fantasies earlier in the film. The implication being that Batman survived and started a new life with Selina in Europe. Well, this theory explains that Batman actually died in the nuclear blast and gave his life to protect the city. Let's discuss the evidence a little bit. People could argue that there was a chance for Bruce to exit the Bat before the bomb went off. Some people think he did it when there was that explosion and a black cloud of smoke before the plane flew over the bridge. Others think he did it over the bay at some point. The issue is we saw him get into the Bat and take off. Perhaps he did this to fake his death or program the autopilot mid-flight, but the film shows us clips of him inside the cockpit several times during the flight. If we are to trust the events happened in the order that they were shown to us, then Batman was in the plane at least a good mile or so out of the bay. Sure, some fans have theories about how he could have survived, but as far as this theorist can tell, Batman fried himself on purpose. Maybe he didn't trust the autopilot, maybe he didn't have time to program it, or maybe, since he already made plans to pass the Batcave off to Detective Blake, he saw his death as the only way he could ever truly retire and give up his Batman persona. Now let's look at the funeral scene. The people at the funeral are Commissioner Gordon, Detective Blake, and Alfred because they are the only ones who truly knew what Batman had done and who he was. Gordon's lines here are very important. He quotes A Tale of Two Cities with the line, "It is a far, far better thing that I do, that I have ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go, than I have ever known." Obviously, the filmmakers wanted to show that Bruce was dead, and in his ultimate act of sacrifice, he found a better rest than he had ever known. The rest supposedly is a symbol for death and the peace of mind that his legacy, both in his wealth and crime fighting, are in good hands, helping orphans and Detective Blake respectively. Alfred is still upset and feels as though he's failed Bruce by allowing him to die. In Alfred's mind, Bruce was supposed to leave Gotham forever, start a family, and live to be a happy old man. The idea that Bruce never had that haunts Alfred because he feels he didn't do enough to give Bruce a real life. Foxx finds out that there was a working autopilot, and most assume that means Bruce survived the explosion because he jumped out of the Bat at some point before the detonation. What most people don't assume is that the reveal could have been not that Bruce survived, but that he willingly gave his life to assure that the people would be safe. This makes his sacrifice all the more powerful because he didn't just program a machine and jump out, and he didn't just sacrifice his life in a cost versus gain decision that he would die anyways, but he could cut the casualties to just him. Instead, he willingly laid down his life to guarantee the safety of Gotham even though there was a chance that he could have lived. He instead chose to die to ensure that his city would not die in flames. Alfred gets what's left of Bruce's money, and he gets to see the good that came from Bruce's sacrifice. When the boys' home gets to continue in Wayne Manor, and the city of Gotham erects a statue in Batman's honor, Alfred is able to see just how much good came from Bruce's final acts of selfless sacrifice. He has time to come to grips with the fact that maybe Bruce did live the life he was meant to live, and perhaps he accomplished everything he wanted to with his time on Earth. As Commissioner Gordon quoted in a eulogy, "I see a brilliant city and a brilliant people rising from this abyss, and in their struggles to be truly free, in their triumphs and defeats, through long to come, I see the evil of this time and the previous time of which, that is natural birth, gradually making expiration for itself and wearing out." Finally, in the last scene where Alfred goes to the restaurant, we see a close-up of Alfred staring off in the distance in a very surreal way. We then turn to see what he sees, which is Bruce with Selina Kyle. This is almost exactly like the dozens of times Alfred's fantasized about seeing Bruce at peace. The theory states that this was not to say Bruce survived and is going to live a life of ease in Europe with Selina. That doesn't really gel with either person's persona. Bruce can never really give up his desire to be Batman, and Selina despised those who lived comfortably while others suffered. So what do we make of this scene? Well, it was meant to symbolize Alfred coming to grips that Bruce is finally at peace. It goes back to the Dickens line about "It's a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go than I have ever known." The visual is a metaphor for Alfred finding peace and closure in knowing that Bruce is at peace, the city is better because of him, and that he didn't fail at raising Bruce. By showing Bruce as Alfred envisioned him, eventually finding peace, we get the feeling that Alfred is now at peace with how things played out. It is his final way of coming to grips with the fact that Bruce accomplished everything he wanted to in life, and that he can finally stop being Batman and move on, even if that means leaving this world in the hands of someone else.
The internet's pretty upset by the new look of the Joker, but what if there's a reason for the Clown Prince of Crime's new look? What if the Joker isn't really the Joker as we know him? Well, some theorists on the internet believe that the Suicide Squad version of the Joker isn't really the Joker, but instead, it is Batman's greatest failure, Jason Todd. If you're not familiar with Jason Todd, here's a quick recap for you. Jason Todd was the second Robin after Dick Grayson moved on and became Nightwing. The Joker beat Jason Todd half to death with a crowbar and then blew him up next to his biological mother Sheila and died, hence why he's Batman's greatest failure. However, thanks to the events in Infinite Crisis, Jason is resurrected and crawls from his grave. That's canon, but here's the twist, and where the theory begins. The Joker doesn't kill him. Instead, he raises Jason as his own protege and became the new Joker. One bit of evidence for this is that Jason Todd has stolen the Joker's identity before. In the comics, Jason became the Red Hood, which was the Joker's persona before he became the Joker. But there's also some hidden clues in the trailer for Batman vs. Superman to support this. In the trailer, we see Batman holding a newspaper that has "You let your family die" scribbled over it. Obviously, this is a reference to Bruce's parents getting killed, and only someone who knew Bruce Wayne was Batman would be able to see that connection. But this might also be in reference to Jason. Bruce Wayne was Jason's surrogate father, and Bruce wasn't able to save him, thus letting his family die. Next, we have the scene with the vandalized Robin suit. You can clearly see the words, "The joke's on you, Batman," written on the suit. This could mean a few different things. But one interpretation is that after all Jason and Bruce have gone through together, with Bruce teaching Jason not to be so angry and teaching him how to be a better person, it didn't matter. It was all a huge joke, because Jason's fate was to become the Joker. His fate was to become the arch nemesis of Batman. Then you have the tattoos. Sure, most of the internet thinks they're stupid, but they could all have meaning and clues as to who this Joker truly is. First, you have the J under his left eye, and you could assume that it means Joker, but for Batman, it would mean something totally different. It would mean Jason. Whenever he sees the Joker, he knows that he's failed the kid. He let him become something way worse than the original ever was. To Jason, it could mean Jason. The tattoo would remind him that no matter what the world sees him as, he is still Jason Todd underneath the crazed persona. Now, if you've played through Arkham Knight, it to a degree supports this part of the theory. In Arkham Knight, Jason Todd is presumed dead, and we are even shown him being killed by the Joker at one point. Or so we think. We see him being tortured a number of times, and one of these times it's with a branding iron with the letter J. But where did he brand him, you ask? We would find that out later once the Arkham Knight finally revealed his true identity as Jason Todd, and we would see that the letter J had been burned onto his face under his left eye. The damaged tattoo on his forehead was probably given him by the original Joker, and is a reminder of how fucked up Jason is. After the beating, all the torture, now the only Jason that's left is a damaged one. A deranged one. On to the right arm. The first one we see is a big smile with teeth on his wrist. Theorists think that the reason this Joker has caps on his teeth is because of the beating he took from the original Joker. So when Jason became the Joker, he wanted to smile. He didn't have the huge grinning smile like the original Joker, so he got a tattoo instead. This next one involves a bit of guesswork since we haven't seen the full tattoo. On his right bicep you can see what looks to be feathers, presumably a bird of some type. This should go without saying, but the bird on his bicep represents, wait for it, Robin, Batman's sidekick. To Jason, this is another reminder of what he used to be. He was Robin. He was basically the son of Batman. He was a hero, but now he's the polar opposite. It's also a reminder to Bruce that this horrible person was once a son, a boy he raised, and a boy he failed. The left arm doesn't have much, just the ha-ha-has and a smile on his hand. Theorists believe that the ha-ha-has on his chest were tattoos from the Joker when he was turning Jason into his protege. Jason probably has a smile on his left hand for the same reason he has one on his right arm. Then we have the Joker's chest. We've already discussed the ha-ha-has, so let's discuss the skull with the jester cap. Skulls are usually associated with death, or the Grim Reaper, and the jester hat is probably a nod to him becoming the Joker. So Jason probably got this after he became the Joker. The skull represents Jason's death, and the jester hat represents his rebirth as everyone's favorite murderous clown. The smoke around the skulls represents the warehouse that Jason was murdered in, which was blown up. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's all cool, but what about Harley? Well, there's an idea floating around about that too. It's possible that Jason creates Harley through the same means he was created: torture. It's also possible that Harley doesn't love the Joker himself, but the idea of the Joker. Arkham Knight helps support this theory as well, with Harley chasing down those infected with the Joker's blood. Once Jason became the Joker, he inherited Harley's love and affection. One more note to help support this theory. In the Batman Beyond movie Return of the Joker, we see a flashback showing the Joker kidnapped Tim Drake and brainwashed him into becoming his protege, Joker Jr. So this theory isn't as far-fetched as some may have you believe.
Well folks, that about does it for this episode of Theory Addict. Real quickly, I want to remind you guys that I did not create these theories. I do not believe most of these theories. I say most of because, again, that last one seemed pretty legit. And if you're gonna leave a comment, don't be a dick about it. Again, I want to thank Crew from the Rad Nerd channel for being a part of this episode, and I want you all to go check out his channel, give it some love, and check out part 2 of this episode of Theory Addict. Crew's a really cool guy, and he deserves more attention than he's been getting. However, I don't need to tell you that. He can tell you that. Take it away, Crew.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us today on Theory Addict. Now, if you enjoyed the contribution that I made to the video, please head over to my channel, the Rad Nerd channel. Check out what I do over there. Why don't I show you a few clips?
I just got an invite to get methed up.
So everybody should start walking in on a train.
You are a twunt. What the fuck was that?
Explain to me what the fuck I just hit. Man, he had another star up his ass. Jesus Christ.
The beating of Jesus?
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get pushed back on. Yep. Nope. Nope. Fuck.
Oh, dude,
no.
I unlocked new makeup. I can put on panda pussy.
What? Oh shit. Our front wheel. Oh god. Oh god.
It's a me, baby Mario, crawling across this fucking thing.
Betrayal.
Oh god. What the hell?
How many times have we fucked ourselves saying, I saw a speedrunner do this?
Yeah. If you guys enjoyed what I just showed you, head over to my channel. There's lots more there. I'm Crew, signing out. Take care of yourselves. Be excellent to each other. Maybe I'll see you in another Theory Addict video.
Be sure to leave a comment letting me know what things you would like to have me discuss in future episodes of Theory Addict, and, of course, check out all the links in the description. If you want to help monetarily support the channel so I can keep doing these, there's a few ways of doing that. You can pick up a t-shirt, drop me a donation on my actual YouTube page, or you can choose to pick up one of my albums. I offer all of my music 100% for free, but if you want to pay for them, I'd appreciate that. Make sure to check out Michigan Wrestling Organization and Imperial Wrestling Entertainment, the wrestling companies that I work for. Check out all the other channels down there in the description. Follow me on all the social media sites, but hey, most importantly, remember to like, comment, subscribe. The Brandon Brownson, signing out.